Hey, I'm Arthur Pope. Just came down here to Lost New Haven. Brought a few things along that I thought Robert here might be interested in and adding to his collection. And hope this is the start of bringing many things down here. Some of the things I forgot to bring today, but I'm the author of Carry Me Back, An American Journey in Time and Place. I'm going to leave Robert a copy of this. It begins in New Haven and ends in New Haven. When I was a kid growing up on Bassett Street in Newhallville, there was an old trunk in our attic, and it was just full of stuff from the American South, from the state of Virginia, all kinds of things and photographs and pictures. A lot of them were unlabeled. Over the course of time, I began a journey back in 1961, I guess it was, about, I was still in, I think I had just graduated from high school. And I began this long journey trying to find out who these people were, where this town in Virginia was, and what the Confederacy was all about. It was like having Confederates in the attic, I guess, and in the trunk. Learning that whole history as a journey of about 15 years, back and forth in this town, until it led to full discovery of all of this. I even met a guy from the Chicago 9, the Chicago 8, who had grown up in that town and had memories of growing up in that town, and he wrote a book. He started his own book based on what I was able to tell him in my book. It's a long, fun story, sort of like this box I brought along. Memories of New Haven. One of the first things I brought along here was one of the bricks from Hall's Brewery. My wife, who was also a native of New Haven, grew up on Congress Avenue across from Hall's Brewery. So she knew it well, but the whole family, of course, knew it well because everybody drank Hall's beer. That was kind of their favorite beer. And when the factory was demolished, whenever that was, I don't know what year it was, my older brother, went down and collected numerous architectural bricks from the factory, and he made it in as the felt has gone off. He made them into doorstops, and we all got bricks from Hall's Brewery for Christmas one year. Got a few of these laying around, but I thought this place should have one of them. One of the things growing up as a kid, I did a lot of research, and early on wrote an article on Hill House Avenue in New Haven, and was always attached and fond of the elms that grew in the city. By the time I was coming along, a lot of them had been lost, but a lot of them were present. I thought I had put in a picture. I did not. Oh, here it is. One of the pictures that I had in my collection of Hill House Avenue. That's one of the pictures from my article that I wrote for Yankee Magazine back in about 1963, I think it was, or 62. And the arcade of elms that dominated the street were gone. I was also always fascinated with elms, particularly the Franklin elm, which stood on the corner of Church and Chapel Streets. It was a tremendously large tree. I'll show you something about that in a few minutes. It was planted the day that Benjamin Franklin died. So fond of the elm trees that later on in life, when I started a little antique and book business, I called it the last elm. Well, it's still going today. Clinton, Connecticut, Route 1. During the course of my the years in that business, someone contacted me at one point. I can't remember all the details why he contacted me, and he said he had a piece of that Franklin elm, and I don't remember whether I bought it from him or I traded from him for the piece, and my intention always was to put it in my shop with another picture to go along with the name of the business, but here it is, and I think this is a good place for it to live. It's written in ink, Old Elm, April, I don't know, 1790, New Haven. Franklin Elm, New Haven, Connecticut. That's elm, and there it is. Another thing that I came across, family member in their attic had some photography that some family member had done or someone had done. Photographs of New Haven, Old New Haven, and amongst the photographs was this one of the Franklin elm after it was cut down. That's the only known, I guess, the only existent photograph of the Franklin elm after it was cut down and the stump was still there, but you could see how massive it was. This guy was a New Haven constable whose beat was there on the corner of Church and Chapel. From the looks of his costume, I do have the information as to who he is. I just kind of forget, but his costume reflects about, I would say, about 1915, 1920 or something like that. So when the stump's still standing there, it's kind of an exciting thing. Then along with the Franklin elm, I happened to find this in an antique shop. It's from the house of Hasselbeck, New Haven, Connecticut. 5 pounds of chocolates. I guess the house of Hasselbeck was a chocolate manufacturer or candy manufacturer in New Haven, and this assortment is I think it's 5 pounds. 5 pound assortment is the Old Elm assortment, and there is the Franklin elm standing in the corner of the box, and it's kind of exciting. I've been doing some cleaning out. I said, now what do I do with that? Well, this is the place for it. I bought some stuff from, this is, I can get everybody better copies of this, Lost New Haven. This is Abraham Lincoln Grammar School, where I went to school, on Shelton Avenue and Division Streets. My father worked at Seal Test, New Haven Dairy. Here's a photograph of the milk bottle. And this is a photograph of Seal Test being torn down. I can get you guys better copies. This is a brochure from Seal Test, New Haven Dairy, in the early 50s. That's my father doing some inspection. I remember him working there. He used to get paid in cash in a little envelope. This is the Milkman type truck used to come to our house, and the milk was laden with ice. This was in as late as the early 50s. It was on Hazel Street in New Haven. Thought you guys might like to have a copy of that. My brother went to Boardman Trade School. This is just an old small clipping of the Boardman Trade School. But notice the huge, magnificent elm next to the school. That was torn down. That photograph was taken shortly before. Bought a little postcard along too of Earl's Original Bavarian Brewhouse, 223 Center Street, New Haven, Connecticut. It looks like it was quite a place. It almost looks like the place up in New Britain that's still currently running, a great Bavarian, New Haven's finest restaurant, 33.5 Center Street, Carl's Original Brewhouse. Orchestra and entertainment nightly. That's great. New Haven's had a lot of tragedies over the years, and one that I think has been totally forgotten, but was pretty significant, was on January 31st, 1954, when a broken gas main caused a blast on the corner of Munson and Sherman Avenue, wrecking the home and killing 4 people. What happened was that the gas main exploded in the basement, blew the house straight up in the air, and it all collapsed down on part of itself. And so fire and rescue people had to dig for the bodies on different layers of the, and I don't think anyone except me remembers that or knows about that or anything. It was really a major tragedy. As kids, we used to, it's kind of macabre, but when I think about it now, but we would, in the backyard, we would dig a big hole and we would fill it with trash and we would put 4 clothespins in, which were the bodies. And then the ground would freeze over, and then as soon as it thawed out, we would dig for the bodies like the fire people. Left a lasting impression on us. That was also Route 10. And after that, I remember on the corner of Bassett Street, they felt that it was caused by trucks over 10,000 pounds disturbing the roadway and the gas lines, and that's how it actually happened. So that's just a few things. I got a lot more.
Well, thank you very much, Arthur. This is an amazing little collection you brought me, and it's going to present very well inside here, and I appreciate it. It's guys like you that really help add to this, especially with the stories that you're bringing here. My two favorite pieces right now, 3. Your dad in that photograph is an amazing thing. That's awesome. That's going to go right into the area of the dairies. This piece of hulls, that's fabulous. And my very favorite, obviously, is this little piece of wood. This little piece of relic wood, to me, is everything. I have great photographs of the Franklin elm, but I don't have a piece of the Franklin elm. So I want to thank you very much for bringing these, and this is a really wonderful collection. Thank you.